Welcome to the Miracles Happen Fertility podcast, where it's all about using the power of your mind to create hope, health, and miracles on your fertility journey. And now your host, a dash of science and a heap of spirit, Dr. Maria Rothenberger.
Hi there. Welcome back to the Miracles Happen Fertility Podcast, episode 104, Super Lucky. And if this is your first time listening to this podcast, welcome in general. I am Dr. Maria Rothenberger, your host for the Miracles Happen Fertility Podcast. I am a therapist by trade and a coach by passion. I focus on family building, fertility, adoption, all that good stuff. And I very grounded in scientific stuff and also very connected to the spirit realm. So you will hear me talk about both things often in the same episode. The beginning of this podcast years ago is focused much more on sciencey stuff and mental health and all that good stuff. It's still incredibly relevant. And now I am moving into a combination of the two, sciencey, grounded stuff, and up in the clouds, what used to be referred to as woo-woo stuff. I don't call it woo-woo anymore. I just think it's all on the same spectrum. So you'll hear me talk about both of those things and hoping those both resonate with you. And if not, take what makes sense and resonates with you and gently leave the rest to the side, saying, that's not for me. That's how I roll. All right. Today we are talking about luck, as I said. This podcast episode is inspired by the month of March. This is March 2021. We are crossing fingers, coming off the hold that coronavirus has had on us, and hopefully moving into far more lucky times. Well, I'm going to put that out there. We are moving into more lucky times. That kind of mindset is important when you're attempting to attract luck to your life, and we're going to talk about that. I also released a new meditation called Super Lucky this month, which Patreons, if you are a patron through Patreon, you get for free on tier 3. That's patreon.com/miracleshappeninsider. And you already have that. But you can also get that meditation over at my website, drmariarothenberger.com/shop. And it is hanging out there for you, ready to pick up. The meditation, I will talk about it a little bit more, but it is about releasing blocks to luck. And so I'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, of course, March, we have St. Patrick's Day. That's my husband's birthday. So we just celebrated that. And totally don't tell him I told you, but this is his last year in his 40s. Go, honey. You look hot. All right. So that is where this podcast episode comes from. And also, I just, a few things come to mind when I think of luck. So in my family, particularly on my mom's side, we talk a lot about their luck at casinos specifically. It's hilarious. We call it the Garcia charm because they go to casinos and my mom won like $1,300 on a penny machine one time. Friggin' A, like how does that happen? So I go and I lose $20 in literally 3 minutes or less. But see, now here I'm saying I'm unlucky on slot machines and I need to reword that if I really want. I mean, if that's really important to me. I guess it's not. Winning on slot machines is not that important to me. But what would be important to me, right, if I were still, especially in the family building realm, is being lucky with all things baby making when you're using especially a third-party reproductive thing or choosing a new provider or choosing people to be on your team of folks to help you conceive and move through this process. Yeah, then I want a lot of luck. I want a lot of luck with where I'm going to have my business, what I'm going to do with my time, how I'm going to serve you best. I want a lot of luck with that. So lots of reasons to want luck. For me, Money not that important. I mean, it is important to live, right? We all need money, but I don't need to be like a trillionaire or something. It's more for feeling secure, right? That sense of security. I always talk about energy and how things work like that. So a sense of security, that's energetic, and how that manifests for you. A dollar could be very insecure for somebody, where it could offer a lot of security for somebody else. All right. Anyway, tangent there. Let's talk about, I know. I was thinking about my mom's side of the family and their luck. And I was thinking one time, because of course I am thinking about March here and St. Patrick's Day and the symbol of the 4-leaf clover, right? Okay. So I just have a brief story about that. I was at, you may have heard me, if you've listened to this podcast, you may have heard me talk about the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. That's where I got the inspiration for my owl tattoo. But I was there, I think it was the last time that I was there. Very sad. I got to go back. I miss you, Omega. I met somebody who was in the field, in one of the fields there, and she found some clovers, and she found a 4-leaf clover. I didn't know that was actually a thing, but it is. That's like real. So she finds this 4-leaf clover and puts it in her journal as part of her process while she's there, right? And she's telling me about it. I'm like, wow, that's so amazing. That is like so cool. So I go out there to look for a 4-leaf clover. And of course, there are like, talk about trillions. There's trillions of clovers out there. And I didn't expect to find one, and I didn't. She goes out there and finds several more. She finds several more 4-leaf clovers, not 3-leaf clovers, 4-leaf clovers, because she expected to find them. We're going to talk about expectation in a little bit. She found several more 4-leaf clovers, and she gave me one. That's sweet. Very cool. But I thought about that with the good luck thing. I'm like, yeah, oh my God, when I was researching for this podcast episode, the expectation piece we're going to get into, like, oh my God, that is so true. And if I go into a casino and I expect to lose $20 in 3 minutes, I mean, man, that's kind of what happens. So I just go shopping. That's what I do. That's how I like to use my money. All right. So, that's just one little story, and many, many more I'm sure that you can come up with in your own life, right? But I want you to consider, if you think you're unlucky, it's time to think again. Now, I, in general, believe and think that I am very lucky. Very lucky. I live that way now. And you'll actually read quite a bit about that in Transcending Infertility. If you haven't picked up Transcending Infertility yet, Amazon #1 bestseller, transcendinginfertilitybook.com. Go check it out. I used to not live that way. I used to try to shove square pegs in a round hole all the time and make things go my way. But after the fertility experience, things changed, and you'll read about that in the book. I actually don't use the word luck a whole lot in my book. And I'll tell you why. And this will be helpful for today too, because I want to help change the definition just slightly when it comes to the word luck. To me, luck implies something random, something that is out of your control. You either receive it or you don't. And I like to think in terms of manifesting or synchronicity, these kinds of things instead. Now, I believe they are one and the same thing, but I use those other words instead of luck because I want to infer that you have more control than you think you do over your luck, over your ability to attract prosperity or whatever it is that you want to attract to you. And luck is the umbrella of all those things. So I don't use the word luck a whole lot, but I thought it was appropriate for the month of March. And I think it's important to, talk about that definition specifically and what I mean when I talk about luck. And today is about you having more control than you think you do. And here are the ways. Let's just get started. There are 4 things that I'm going to talk about here. And actually, I want to give a shout out here to a book about luck that this was pulled from. I have a little bit of a different twist on some of the things that this author says, but certainly this is inspired by some of his work. So this is Richard Wiseman, who's a professor of psychology at the University of Hertfordshire, and he wrote a book called Luck Factor. And so you can go check that out at Amazon or gosh, wherever. Okay, so he talks about 4 things that help create a lucky person. And I've put my own twist on some of the things that he talks about, but certainly go pick up that book. For the actual research, he talks about a lot of research around this, and he talks about how luck isn't magical. It is, there's a science behind it, essentially. Now, here is where I come in with some of the spirit stuff or some magic things. So it's funny because he talks about, luck not being magical, but then he talks about the wisdom of magical thinking. It's pretty cool. It's like, wait, but you said it's not magical, but magical thinking is useful. Okay, I will get into that a little bit more. But let's start at number 1, right? Okay. The first thing that you can do to begin attracting luck. Oh, and my doggy just came up here. You probably hear him sniffing. Hi, Jakey. Hi, Jakey. Okay. All right, get back. I guess he wanted to join the podcast today. That's my silver lab, by the way. You've probably seen him on Instagram if you follow me there at Dr. Maria LPC. Anyway, and Dexter's barking in the background. Hey, the perks of working from home. All right, the very first thing that you can do to begin to feel lucky and attract luck to you is getting curious. Now, what do I mean by that? In Transiting in Fertility, I ask you to consider, just like think about somebody like maybe Apple. Apple gives you a new device to play with because they're looking for consumer information, right? So they give you this new device. It's not a phone. It's something really new and cool. And they ask you to play with it for a little bit. So getting curious means picking up this device and asking yourself and playing with it, going, well, what would happen if I push this? What would happen if I switch this? What would happen if I play with this light or this button or this thing over here? There's a curiosity. And when you think of doing that, there's fun in it. It's play. It's very playful, right? It's lighthearted, playful. You don't know what's coming next, yet there's no anxiety in it at all. You're just playing. So when I say get curious, that's what I mean. Get curious through play. People who are lucky, they get really curious and they play a whole lot. Okay, lots of playing, lots of seeing what would happen, lots of flying by the seat of their pants. Now, does that mean that you can't ever have a plan? Oh, of course not. Of course not. But try new things. Try some new stuff. See what happens. Things that you're unfamiliar with, you may find, oh my God, this is so cool. I never would have done this before had I not just flown by the seat of my pants. If I hadn't just turned left or made a wrong turn there and decided to keep going anyway. So you get really curious. That's the very first thing that you can do. Now, the research that's referenced in the book and also my own research with post-traumatic growth and personality stuff shows that there are certain personality characteristics that tend to do better with getting curious and being playful. That is extroversion and a lack of neuroses, so people who are less neurotic, and also people who are really open to experience. Now, I have found I am personally an introvert, okay? So I might be an extroverted introvert. What does that mean? It means that I can talk to people and be out there and no problem. I'm not super shy or anything, but it's energy sucking for me. So I need to go back into my cave and do my own self-care. And I might need more of that than I spent in terms of time connecting with other people. So if I connected with other people for 30 minutes, I might need to recharge for an hour. So, but people in general who are more extroverted, per the research, now again, that's just statistics, and statistics aren't everything. And this is why I like to talk about that spirit side too, because you are still an individual human. All All right. So, but if you happen to be extroverted, if you happen to be less anxious, if you are more open to experience, then getting curious is much easier for you. Does that mean if you are not those things, let's say you're totally introverted, highly anxious, and you're very closed to new things, it's really hard for you to do new things. Does that mean that you can't get curious about things? Absolutely not. Because still, what would happen in the privacy of your own home with that new device from Apple just to play with, or a new device from your favorite tech people, or a new movie to watch, or a new article to read, or a new book to read, or whatever strikes your fancy? If somebody gave you something just to try it out and give feedback, what would you do? You would get curious. All right, so that said, here's a caveat here. When you try new things, there's a lot of things not working out. Okay, so don't let that deter you. I like to reference Thomas Edison here, who invented the light bulb, and he's famous for a quote. And I should have probably looked up the exact quote, but basically somebody asked him in an interview, because it took him thousands of tries before he actually created a light bulb, and somebody asked him what it's like to fail that many times. And he said something to the effect of, fail? What do you mean? I didn't fail, whatever, 1,500 times. I've probably mentioned this quote on this podcast before. I didn't fail 1,500 times. I just found 1,500 ways not to make a light bulb. That's all. It's no big deal, right? That's the same sense of curiosity and openness that I am hoping to instill in you, that things are not always going to work out okay. It's just chalking it off on the list for, oh, that one didn't work out. Then the one that's going to work out is coming. It's on its way now. I'm closer to it because of this. So when you get curious and play around and try new things, like, in our life, it's trying new restaurants. We go into a new restaurant and it's like, oh man, that kind of sucked, or it was mediocre. Once in a while, it's like, friggin' A, that was amazing. We're going to add that to our list to go back to, right? I got to rate this one. So I actually probably should rate all of them so people know, but that's what we mean, or what I mean by getting curious and open and seeing what happens, even knowing that sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't. And because you're getting curious and open and trying more things, things will work out, or will not work out more than they were before. Please do not let that deter you. You're still creating luck in your life by inviting more opportunity for luck to come its way. Okay. And then the next 3 things you're going to practice will increase the likelihood that things will go your way. All right. So the first thing is to get curious. The second thing, which I've talked about plenty of times on this podcast, is accessing your intuition, really paying attention to your intuition. Now, this is where, interestingly, a lot of science comes in. Okay, so we're talking about intuition, and in the book, I believe you'll read where he's like, intuition isn't magical, okay? It's not like this magic thing. And then future little sections here, we're going to be talking about magical thinking, but intuition isn't totally magical. It's an actual skill that you can build, that you can practice, that everybody has. Everybody has this, sixth sense. Ooh, it's not really so woo-woo, okay? Go back to episode 59 when I talked to Andrea Ryder about intuition. You can see that on my website at drmariarothenberger.com/episode 59, or you can find it on YouTube at the Miracles Happen Fertility Center, episode 59 with Andrea Ryder. Excellent information around intuition, and it's not that woo-woo, okay? You have it, by the way. You might think, I'm not that intuitive. I don't know. I don't have a sixth sense. Actually, yes, you do. Everybody does. Everybody on the planet does. All right, so really practicing this skill is really important. And I want you to actually, when you begin to access your intuition, pay attention to your body first, okay? What's interesting about the body is that it expresses messages to us before our brain can even comprehend and have a thought about it. And there's a lot of research about this with the HeartMath Institute, which if you've listened to this podcast, you've probably heard me talk about the HeartMath Institute before. I am so in love with them because they combine my real penchant for science meets spirit. I absolutely love it. It's phenomenal. Heartmath.com. So I wanted to reference a research project that they did about intuition. And they looked specifically, it's interesting, they actually broke down intuition into a few parts. So they said there is, what did they say here? 3 types of intuition. Implicit knowledge is number 1. Number 2, energetic sensitivity. Number 3, non-local intuition. What does non-local intuition mean? That means that it's not within your body. It's not within anything within your body, and it's not a sensing. So implicit knowledge is just a knowing that you have. I know that I need to not go down that dark alley. That's just implicit knowledge. Energetic sensitivity. I'm sensing another presence in this room. Non-local intuition it means that there's a knowing in your superconscious. So that means not within your body. It's an awareness that's out in the ether. It's out in the field around you. So they actually studied. God, I could go down the rabbit hole with that information. Let's just stop there because I'm talking about luck. Reining it in, Maria, reining it in. Non-local intuition is what the HeartMath Institute studied in this particular experiment. So what they did, in brief, they hooked up participants to a computer that measured their brainwave activity and, a lot of biology. They looked at brainwave activity, heart activity, and the gut. So they looked at biological responses to images on a computer screen. And they found these images were randomly selected. Even the researchers didn't know what the images were going to be. But from previous research, they knew that certain images brought about a sense of peace and calm, and other images brought out this heightened fear response. And what they found was that the brain and the heart both had a response before the image even popped up on the screen. That's astounding. Now, the heart also had a response before the brain had a response. So first the heart has a response, then the brain, and then all the way back down to the gut. So your gut has a response, a physical response. So, and they said on average that the responses occurred 4.8 seconds before the computer randomly selected the pictures. So this is what we mean by non-local intuition, that there are messages in the field around you that are given to you before you even see it with your eyes or experience it with your regular quote unquote 5 senses. Very fascinating stuff. So when you are working toward luck, you access that part of you that knows something before your 5 senses know it, right? Or experience it. So you're pulling from the field around you and having an awareness of it before your body has a response, or before your 5 senses have a response. So you're knowing it and aware of it before you see it. You're knowing and aware of it before you hear it, and so on and so forth. That is what we're talking about accessing here. So clearly the next time I go to the casino, I'm paying attention to what my heart is doing. Just going to follow my heart. Oh, don't go to that 500th Elvis machine. For those of you who don't know, I'm a massive Elvis Presley fan, and he always does me wrong in the casino. Go to that, I don't know, wolf thing, the wolf machine. I don't even know. I have no idea where my heart's going to lead, but I have to pay attention to that. That's just one example in terms of like financial luck and casino luck. I'm still only playing the penny machines though. Okay. So if you want to attract luck, if you want to be super lucky, begin paying attention to your intuition. So now that means there's a level of discernment, right? So in step one, or not step one, these aren't steps. These are just things that you can do to practice. But in the first thing that we talked about, getting curious, after you've started playing with that new device or whatever for a little bit, now you're going to access your intuition and be a little more discerning. That's what we're talking about when we talk about accessing intuition. You're not flying around willy-nilly anymore. You have some guidance. So this is helping fine-tune the luck, fine-tuning the luck coming your way. All right. The next thing that you can do is the magical thinking part. Expect luck. Expect good shit to come your way, man. One of my favorite quotes by Wayne Dyer, I am realistic. I expect miracles. I love that. I am realistic. I expect miracles. And that is the same idea around expecting luck. This is why it's, quote, magical thinking, because people feel like it's not reality. Right? If you say I am realistic, that means you look at very hard evidence, very concrete things only. It's completely fine to look at hard evidence and very concrete things. It's just not the whole picture. And so when you look at concrete things, like, for example, I talked about this in other areas, other podcasts and on different interviews and things, with manifesting stuff, I had put out there that I wanted to be a part of a women's spirituality group. And I couldn't find one that really fit me. And I thought, oh, geez, maybe I should just create one. And I left it into the universe because I'm like, I can't, I don't have the bandwidth for that right now. But I don't even know how to start one. So I'm not even going to go there right now. And I'm walking home from work. And I crossed a pedestrian bridge on my way home from work, and sitting on the bridge, just against the railing, no one else is around, is a book about creating a women's spiritual group. What the frig, right? Like, that is the hard, cold evidence right there. It's like right there. And there is nothing wrong with evidence. Nothing. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's just not the whole picture. Right? So I put things out into the universe and I expect the answer to come back to me. That's all. I let the universe take care of it. And it shows up in freaking ways like that. Random freaking ways. This is synchronicity. This is why I use that word synchronicity a whole lot. But when you expect it, when you expect luck, you just sit back and wait. It's coming. It's on its way. I don't have to shove that square peg into a round hole. As I mentioned before, I just sit back and wait. Now, here's where more magical thinking happens, because the research shows, and this is like so weird because the two are going together here. Research shows that magical thinking works. And here's an example. They looked at good luck charms specifically. So I remember one time way, way, way back in the day, geez, I don't even know how old I was, early 20s. I worked at a mortgage company, and the loan officer there had his, quote, lucky coffee mug. So he considered this a lucky thing. And I went to wash it for him one day and he freaked the F out. The man never washed his coffee mug. Let's just put to the side how disgusting that is. But it was his lucky mug and I was about to ruin the luck, right? I was about to wash the luck away and he freaked out. The study shows that good luck charms work. They actually work. And you know what's funny? The book talks about, the book that I was referencing before, the good luck, what's it called? Luck Factor. They talk about being a little delusional. In the mental health world, it's like, oh, I don't know about delusions being great. But he talks about them in that sense of magical thinking, just being like a little whisper delusional, like deluding yourself slightly. It actually works. It enhances performance. It creates good things coming people's way. It's amazing. It's absolutely, it's just phenomenal when you think about it. But what ends up happening when you have a good luck charm or a magical thinking, if it's not a tangible piece of, a luck item like a rabbit's foot or something. Gosh, I would never have a rabbit's foot. But crystals. Hey, I can talk about crystals, right? That's a good luck item. If you have that in your pocket and you know that it's there and you feel like, oh, this is working for me, your body actually begins to respond. You totally begin to respond in a way that perhaps you would not have had you not had that lucky charm. There's another book that I like to reference called You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza. And he talks about the placebo effect being, we all know that it's a real thing, but it's interesting because your body can do all this and you don't maybe think about it in your everyday life. So yes, you have a good luck charm. And yes, by the way, crystals do have their own little energetic signature that absolutely affect your biology. But if you just had something that didn't have, maybe it was a piece of plastic or something, or there was a movie once where I saw somebody with public speaking. He kept like a paper clip in his pocket or something. Anybody remember what that movie is? He kept a paper clip in his pocket, and that helped him with public speaking to not get nervous. He just didn't get nervous anymore because this paper clip helped him, right? It definitely has its own energy signature too. It may be not as powerful as crystals, but his body, the placebo effect worked, right? He was able to chill out. Now, when it comes to luck, if you embody what it's like to have this good luck charm, literally embody it. Like your body is feeling, oh, I have this good luck charm. I have good luck. Good things come my way. Then just on a body level, you begin to experience what it's like to feel lucky. Now, on the spiritual level or quantum reality or quantum physical level, again, disclaimer, I am not a quantum physicist. So you'll want to talk to a quantum physicist who also disagree with each other. But on a quantum level, from my perspective and from the research that I have done, that begins to draw those things, that which you attune to or align with, begins to draw those things to you. And that is luck, more luck. And again, another example of how you are more powerful than you think you are. So just do this for a second. Practice this right now. I'm going to say some words and you body sense. Okay, so I'm going to say some words and you sense what your body feels like when I say these words. Okay, we're going to start with this one. I am super lucky. I am super lucky. I am super lucky. Okay, so just sensing what your body is like when you hear those words. And now these words. I am so unlucky. I am so unlucky. I am so unlucky. Now, you can probably hear the change of tone in my voice, right? But what does it feel like in your body to hear those words, especially compared to what it feels like to hear the previous words? Just a tiny little exercise here, and it's very minute sometimes. You might not feel a massive change if you are a highly sensitive person. You probably do feel a massive change if you're not a highly sensitive person. Just look for the minutia. That's your intuition. That's what you're paying attention to. And it's, again, this magical thinking changes how your body responds. Very important when you're trying to be super lucky. Okay, now what happens, this is the last thing. What happens when shit still happens? Like bad stuff still happens. Unlucky things still happen. Now, this last thing, I want to be careful because I don't want to instill in you that you have to be positive thinking all the time. Look for silver linings. I mean, those things are great and they're not the whole picture. You still need to honor that getting horrible things in your life or having horrible things happen is horrible and terrible, and it feels bad. You want to honor the feeling bad because it's important. It's important to feel through that. That's the way through to the healing side of bad things happening. All right, so this last thing is seeing the full picture. Seeing the full picture, okay? So people who have terrible things happen to them, and are still, embodying luck, respond to terrible things happening in a different way than people who feel like they're just always unlucky. They handle adversity differently. I hesitate to use the word resilient, but there is more resilience, like they're able to pop themselves back up more. But even still, they handle things differently when they're like down on the ground. I use the reference, in fact, one of the chapters in Transcending Infertility is Be the Bamboo. I use that analogy. So oak tree, super strong oak tree, a hurricane comes, snaps it in two. Super strong bamboo tree, a hurricane comes, the bamboo tree simply lays down and waits for the storm to pass, and then eventually it slowly pops back up. When we're talking about lucky people, I just realized bamboo, lucky bamboo. I should probably have one of those in my office. Okay, that was a total squirrel just now. So bamboo's laying down, back on track here. Lucky person lays down and says, there's something on the other side of this. Unlucky person lays down and goes, what the fuck? Why is this happening? All this kind of stuff happens to me. I can't ever catch a break. I'm probably going to be here forever, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Now, does it feel great to be derailed and laying on the ground like that? Abso-friggin-lutely not. It is terrible. It's somebody who embodies luck, who knows that overall they can still attract good things coming their way, is laying down on the ground saying, this sucks. And on the other side of it, I know that there's something that's better coming my way. So there's a big element of trust, a huge element of trust. So now, again, we still want to honor the horrible feeling that it is of being kicked to the ground. So a lucky person will acknowledge, this sucks. I know that there's something else on the other side. So I'm not going to panic being in this sucky place right now. I'm just not going to panic. I'm going to be in it. Whereas a person who considers themselves unlucky might actually panic. So there is an element, a very, very, very strong element of trust here. Okay. I want you to really consider that. Now, this is a simple concept, very simple and much harder to apply. So with practice, all these things are with practice. One of the things that I find in the fertility world is that people want immediate results. I want it now. This is the society that we live in, right? It's like immediate gratification. These things require practice. So for me, for just comparison's sake, we went through a fertility journey 5.5 years before I finally said, this is stupid. I'm ruining my life and something needs to change. And so I began doing these things to change. And it took for the first time for me to be aware that things were actually working was about 3 months. It took about 3 months for me to go, okay, whoa, I'm actually better than I used to be. And then it was a full year later that I was like, oh my God, things are amazing. I'm attracting things all the time. Shit just goes my way. And honestly, I say this in a very excited way, but it was more like, well, of course, I changed things. I've been working on this. Of course, I'm super lucky. Of course, I see synchronous things all the time. Of course, things go my way because I've been working on this. So That's how it feels. It just feels like normal because you live as if things come your way, good things come your way all the time. So when things do come your way, it's like, well, of course. And thank you. Thank you, universe. So there's an element of gratitude and a calming sensation. It's very different than you might expect. It's not like you're jumping up and down going, yeah, things are amazing, because you're just not surprised because you've been living as if things come your way. All right. So practice, practice, practice. Get curious, access your intuition, expect luck. And when things don't go your way, or it appears as if things are unlucky, see the full picture. There is something on the other side of this that is where my luck is. And I'm just going to honor this crap right now. Okay. Now, if you find that you've practiced these things, or if you already know that you have blocks, okay, you just have major blocks to inviting luck into your life, that is what Super Lucky Meditation is. That's the meditation I mentioned way back in the beginning of this podcast episode that you can get at drmariarothenberger.com/shop. Just click on meditations and you'll find that new release there. It's called Super Lucky. Or if you're a Patreon member, Tier 3, you get that meditation free and all meditations, monthly meditations, for as long as you're a member. They just come free to you. So, P.S., if you are not a meditator, whoa, really important for your fertility. And you can get more information on why that is true by going to my website, drmariarothenberger.com. Scroll down a little bit, you'll see some free gifts. There's one about 5 reasons why meditation is essential for your fertility. I am really, really hardcore here. No joking. This is really important. You've got to begin a meditation practice. And that ebook, by the way, will tell you why it's important and it'll tell you how to get started. You think you can't meditate, you're likely wrong. There are lots of ways to meditate. So just pick that up. It's for free. Friggin' why not? Just go pick it up. All right. So get curious, access your intuition, expect luck, and see the full picture. Practice these things over and over and over. If you feel like you have some blocks to luck, pick up that meditation, Super Lucky. You won't be sorry. You'll start attracting luck to you. All right. As always, my friend, thank you for tuning in to the Miracles Happen Fertility Podcast. Again, if this is your first time, thank you for dropping by. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like and all that thumbs up stuff if you're on YouTube right now. And if you can, don't forget to take the time to rate this podcast and leave a comment. I really love hearing what you have to say. And thank you again. I will see you in the future. Until then, my friend, be happy and joyous and super lucky, and may you be well.